The Whiskey with Mark.
July 3rd. It's July 4th Eve.
July 3rd, 2018. What's your name, sir?
My name is Dan, a.k.a. Dr. Bud on the big screen. See, but Mark, what I'm proposing, so Mark's writing all the words down right now. But what I want to have is software that writes the words down for him. And then John's idea was we could also have it write the words, write the words, do the translation to Spanish or Chinese. And then
Software that translates.
And then we'd have a human, a couple of humans.
Well, you know that Skype does it.
No, part of our process would be we'd have monitors, humans, that would actually flag issues and errors. Like, for example, if you said the word flibbertigibbet, and the software couldn't handle it, we would talk about that.
What's a flibbertigibbet?
Flibbertigibbet.
What's a flibbertigibbet?
Oh, it's a fake word.
Is that just a nonsense word you're using for...
No, I didn't make it up. It's actually the guy the deep voice guy that did the Levi's commercial also did a jam with the Grateful Dead.
Tell us the story, Dan.
Oh, that was a great picture.
Are we just talking about whatever, or are we talking about specific shit?
No, we're actually talking. I'm actually talking about the software we could build with it that would make this thing work really great, make Whiskey Talks work great. Okay, so the idea is that we want.
You have 27 more minutes. Or you have 17 more minutes.
No, I don't want minutes. I just want to say our goal is to get this shit out and not have any post-processing, and therefore accept into our process of recording that we're going to do dynamic processing. We're going to do dynamic editing. A couple ways we can do that are to have live transcriptions in different languages, actually. Because, to wield all the internet software or whatever, to do live transcriptions of whatever we're saying in English, or whatever we call English, into Spanish and Chinese. But the role of the monitor, because you and I are going to be talking to each other, the role of the monitor is they're a native language speaker of each of those languages.
Yeah.
So we have one English monitor, one Spanish monitor, one Chinese monitor, and they're detecting flaws in the transcription and flagging it. And they can like in the flibbertigibbet is just a word that would be an example of something that they would flag and saying, yeah, that didn't.
They would replace it like question marks?
Yeah, we would replace it with question marks. And then we would pause. This is where we go meta, and we break the fourth wall, whatever, in theater terms. And we would realize, I just did a shot in him, and I slurred flibbertigibbet, and then we would just go off on a tangent about flibbertigibbet, right? That we heard of it.
Should we go off on a tangent on flibbertigibbet right now?
We are, because I'm still trying to remember the name of that singer. But the other thing we're not going to do is Google that, because I could Google it. I could do it right now.
We can't Google anything in a conversation because it's just like, let's just have a pause while we look it up on the internet.
Right.
Unless
we do post-processing, in which case we could cheat.
You don't Google anything anymore because it doesn't. Like in the context of a conversation, as we're talking, I don't want somebody to pull out their phone. And I don't want to do that.
I don't
want to be the guy who pulls out their phone either.
And that's why I talked to John.
I just go with whatever limited information I have in my brain. And it's like as we're talking, I'm never going to fact check anybody in real time.
Oh, I know the guy's name. Have you ever had that feeling? And this is, I know the data. And if you said the guy's name, I would confirm the data. But I just can't find the data right now. And it's like...
well, I just have to trust you.
You do. It doesn't cost you anything at this point.
Right.
But yeah, so this basic idea is that we would see this game box you have here? It's approximately the size of, for our radio listeners, what would we describe that as? We would say 5 inches by 8 inches by 2 inches. But imagine it's just an iPad. Because really, since for our radio listeners, They don't see anything in it. So just imagine an iPad, but it would actually have these.
That's cute that you're talking about our radio listeners. As if there's anybody on the radio. Listening.
Yeah. Okay.
You're talking about like
Streaming listeners?
Streaming listeners?
Right.
There is, when the end times come and we're basically forced to go long wave again.
Right.
There may be radio
Well, it's a
listeners.
good question.
But anyway, let's not talk about the end times.
I mean,
No talking about the
That's
end
for the
times.
next. That's for the next whiskey session.
one or the other or both. Yeah.
So yeah, we would just have basically we're going to augment the whiskey sessions with tech, such that we can eliminate the onerous task of post editing.
Right.
And any solution I've come up with to do that, without is itself
you have to
changes
work that out.
what whiskey talk is.
And there are
Because now whiskey talk is like we realize. I mean, John actually pointed this out. Like if Luis, for example, was our Spanish monitor,
Sure.
checking for bad Spanish transcription errors.
Yeah.
Because remember,
Well,
he could hear us. He could hear us, and he'd know what we're trying to say, and he'd say, "No, that didn't come across." Red flag. He'd do a red flag,
Yeah.
and then we would actually learn a little bit about how to say certain things in Spanish, and we might even diverge into Luis explaining to us, "Yo,
must have happened that day, or I don't know what.
this is what's
Where-
going
where's
on."
Luis?
response to kind of knock.
I haven't seen him in weeks.
I was like,
I saw him a couple weeks ago.
10 years old.
It'd be nice to think that Eugene is awesome. And,
global
you know,
weirding. It's just weather's going to get
I
weirder.
just don't know.
It's going to get weirder.
I'm at an impasse right now because like
No, it's not inherently awesome. It has to be just like civilization. It has to be fought for. Like Eugene is like
that's when I feel
a
like
great
it tipped in.
physical
Stop
geography
hearing as
place
much
right now in this
like
particular part of the
just started hearing
global
like,
climate
but it
cycle
wasn't
and all
us.
that.
We aren't the ones. It happens all the time.
What we can choose, and what I would like us to choose, is
The thing is,
to make it
also
awesome and
around
keep
the
it
same
awesome.
time,
It's
we
accidentally
started
awesome
seeing majority,
because
even
of
though
geography
you
and
didn't get a
history.
majority saying
We,
it was caused by
and
us,
you're part of that,
you
Mark,
also did
is
get a majority saying we should
we're
do
trying to make
something about it.
and
So,
keep
you know,
it awesome
watching
and
Conference Southwest, conservative
and this
people
one of our
going,
whiskey
"Oh,
talks should
yeah,
be about
the weather's changed. We
fucking high
know."
density, man.
You know,
If we're gonna, I want us to get into this idea that we're gonna double the population of Eugene in the next 10 years, and if we don't do something super smart and innovative, we're gonna end up doubling the area of Eugene in the next 10 years, which means all these cool things like the carrot distance. I've told you about the carrot distance, right?
yeah, Eugene's got a lot of great attributes, and if we can keep those attributes as the population increases,
if all that energy went
like
into just
we could just make it more awesome.
which a lot of people
Right, and
are.
that's the thing is like we have to think SimCity. We have to think. Look at all the. We have all the. We have all the history. We have Portland. All the places that used to think they were cool, they're now shitty. Let us try to find a way to stay cool, even if it means we have to do Tesla-style innovation, like really high-density, tall buildings out, like somewhere.
I don't know what to do.
And it might be here, but or my idea is to take the building they wanted to put there and stick it in in Olive and Broadway, the intersection.
Well, and you're talking about the Kesey Square building.
Yeah, the Kesey Square building.
Yeah. All right, we're on time, so let's wrap it up.
Keep our open spaces. Let new people in. Increase income. The only way to do that is density and giving up space that we currently devote to parking lots and garages and turning those into places that we can either party in or live in. Oh yeah, and the last thing is putting the train underground. This is a great idea. When the train tracks come into town out at Chambers, they should go underground. All that parkway above that can turn into parkway, increasing the value. So the developers, this is one place where the developers will align with goodness. The developers that have all the real estate aligning the train tracks,
Yeah.
they get a negative 25 bonus to their property value. Imagine if the trains were suddenly going underground. Yes, it would take 10 years. Dig tunnels, yada, yada, yada. Suddenly we're not dealing with coal dust, and all this real estate above ground is suddenly valuable. Let's not build on it, though. Let's put a bike path there.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thanks for participating.
Thank you, Mark, for making this happen.